Master at the helm there.
Hi everyone, Chris here. If you watched the last video in this series, you'll know we sailed from Gosport to Ramsgate in the last one. In fact, we didn't actually sail, we motored most of the way, which was a bit disappointing. So in this particular leg today, the one to Harwich, we're hoping to get a little bit of sailing done. However, Ramsgate was a good place, like that, excellent place to stop. So we're going to cross the Thames estuary from Ramsgate obviously to Harwich, and this is a moderately complicated trip because you've got to negotiate some sandbanks, and there's quite shallow bits across the Thames estuary if you don't already know this, and it's not super difficult in calm conditions, but it does need a little bit of thought, and you've got to time your trip across to get some tides. We wanted to sail, but the weather forecast was for northerlies and northeasterlies, which kind of meant that it looked like we might end up doing a lot of motoring again. So this is the video about what happened.
Right, this is North Foreland, and we're heading basically across the Thames estuary with the tide going that way, and we're doing 7 to 7.5 knots, just on a reach, not close haul but a sort of close reach, really flying along here, beautiful. Right, this is Fisherman's Gat. With the big wind farm here, I think it's the London Array one anyway, a really big one. And we're steaming along here, 7.5 knots.
Okay, so that was the trip to Harwich, and we arrived at Halfpenny Pier rather than going into Shotley Marina, and it has the advantage of being in the old town in Harwich, which was really quite interesting. Been a great day, really good sail, not a lot to report really, so I'm going to add on the next bit, which is when we go off to Grimsby. Now this is a long leg, and it was one we had to do partly because James needed to get back to work. We were doing this over the Easter weekend, and James needed to get back to work and needed to get back from somewhere which had a good railway connections. The other sort of thing that made us choose to do this was that with the exception of Lowestoft, there's not a lot of places to stop before you get to Grimsby with a deep fin keel boat. So wells next to sea was a possibility, but rather pushing it with our 2.1 metre draft. So we opted to go for straight to Grimsby. So a long leg, and it was going to be an overnighter again, and this is what it was like. Okay, so we've got into Grimsby through the lock. The first bit you go through is the fish dock, and then the marina itself is at the far end by that big blue boat. This lock business caused us a little bit of consternation because it says in the various books that if you arrive at high water, plus or minus an hour or so, there's free flow. And we arrived at high water and clearly there wasn't any free flow. And if you arrive at any other time, you have to pay a 20 quid locking in fee. And although we had arrived at high water, the locks were closed. And they were closed for a quite interesting reason, which was that the Humber itself was actually higher than the marina. So rather than having to lower boats down, they were trying not to flood the marina and the fish dock. However, we still got whopped for the 20 quid, which was a bit unfortunate. So it kind of didn't start off our trip in Grimsby quite as we might have hoped for. Anyway, having said that, in the next video we'll have a look around Grimsby itself. This is an interesting place. It looks a bit run down. We'll say some more about that later. But anyway, interesting little trip. We arrived safely, some cracking good sails on the way over, you know, 7, 8, 9 knots quite a lot of the time, so really good trip.